Hi everyone, Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Yesterday, patch 8.2 for the World of Warcraft went live in Americaville, and also today went live in the United States of Europashire. So, how does it seem to be going down with people thus far? You've probably seen the thumbnail and you've probably seen the title of the video. It doesn't seem to be hitting the right buttons with a lot of the remaining players of World of Warcraft. So why is that? Well, there's a few things which I want to go into myself, but I'll leave that till later on in the video. Just so we're absolutely clear about where I'm coming from here. I only spent about an hour on the PTR for 8.2, and that was Nazjatar. And the reason why I spent an hour was because I was really bored. I was really bored really quickly. There just didn't seem to be anything different. It didn't seem to be an exciting way to arrive at Nazjatar. A little cutscene, and then you fall, into a big hole in the water. And we'll get into this later on. But yeah, it didn't grab my attention. And so when it's released, there was no real temptation for me to subscribe for the next couple of days, because on Friday, it's early access for Shadowbringers. I'm getting in that. And that's going to be me done. So I don't know when I'll be jumping into 8.2 to give it a try. But probably not for the foreseeable future. So why have the remaining WoW player base not seemed to have gravitated towards it particularly well? Well, just look at some of these headings in the forums. And I know the forums isn't exactly the most positive of positive places to go, but one thing that the forums are normally dominated by active players in the World of Warcraft. People who are still playing the game. People have quit. People have moved on. People have gone. Aren't gonna particularly waste their time taking to the forums. So this is what the existing player base is saying. I think I'll pass. Patch 8.2 review. Spoilers, not good. 8.2 Timegating, still ruining the game. 8.2 verdict, lists a load of stuff they don't like and then says it's a good way to kill time. I'm sorry, Blizzard, 8.2 is boring and disappointing so far. And then, just to balance it, I love Nazjatar. And it's like, 10 replies. Okay, so let's get into a few reasons as to why. So a lot of people are talking about how it doesn't feel different. That seems to be a lot of people's gripe. It just doesn't feel different. It feels, again, like more of the same, with world quests / dailies being grindy for minuscule amounts of rep, where we heard this story before, and they're not getting into it. Realizing, a lot of people are making the realization, because I've heard this myself, that Nazjatar is basically Argus in terms of that's the way it's been designed. Other people complaining about a bait and switch with the weapon item level. It was meant to be a 415 weapon that you got, but then on release date was 370. Now, I'm somebody who is opposed to just being granted stuff, but all I'll say is, look, I quit the game 5 months ago. 5 months ago. The end of January is when I unsubscribed. Not quit the game, but unsubscribed. It didn't deem it worthy of my coin at the moment. But even I 5 months ago, and I did no raiding whatsoever. I didn't do any Mythic Plus whatsoever. Managed to get myself a bloody 385 sword. I think it was from Darkshore Warfront. And I only ever did that, I think, twice. It's one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. So quitting 5 months ago, and I've even got a higher item level weapon than that. So goodness knows what you could have got in those other 5 months. With the review, please fix our classes. This seems to be another thing which is resonating in a lot of forum posts, particularly this post, is how people are still hating their classes. And other people are saying, well, it's a patch. Blizzard aren't going to fix classes. Look, Blizzard could decide to fix classes if they wanted to right now. But they're not. They're gonna leave it to another expansion, because that's all they do is mess about with classes. Every expansion, cocking it up, wasting so much time and resources that could have been better spent working out better contents, better ideas, better stories, which we'll get to soon as well. But no, every expansion they mess about trying to tweak classes. Timegating, another big thing which crops up again and again and again in these forum posts, just constantly getting time gated to try and extend the content that they've got. Even some cynical people saying, look, they're just trying to time gate 2 months. That's all they're trying to do. Just time gate 2 months so they can get to Classic. And then 8.2 verdict, which is this: content still feels like a chore. Dailies and world quests. Mobs are everywhere more than normal. Don't know what that one's about. Horde and Alliance are way out of balance. I think this is actually referring to sharding, which is another thing which has cropped up time and again. Sharding being really unbalanced. War mode being completely out of whack in terms of balance, because they're just, from what I can gather, significantly more Horde than Alliance. And therefore, war mode is just not an enjoyable experience. And the new Essence system seems to be bland and reused. But look, that's the bulk of the content, dude. And then he says, but it's still fun. You know what I mean? People don't know. Some people don't know the one. I'm sorry, Blizzard. 8.2 is just boring and disappointing. But as we just discussed, same old, same old. People are just getting tired of having the same thing thrown at them, slightly redressed. I've said this many, many times. You put a pig in a dress, still a pig at the end of the day. Let's get just back to me, because I'm cool. So, right. I have done a little bit of, when I say digging, the last 24 hours or so, I've done a little bit looking at some of the cinematics for 8.2 and trying to say to myself, right, this is the tact that I'm going to take. You are an ex-World of Warcraft player. You are looking at the cinematics and the story of 8.2 to try and intrigue you. So not even the content, to try and intrigue you. You left at the end of Legion or the beginning of BFA, or even like me, you left at the end of Genera, something like that. Is there something here to snag me, to drag me back into the game? Well, the first cutscene that I saw were the ships, the Alliance chasing the Horde, with the smallest ship battle in history. And then Ashara had suddenly managed to acquire the Tidestone, which we'll get to in a moment. Puts a beam up, because that's everything and everything now. Just a beam up in the sky, whatever. And it parts the Red Sea, and the ships fall in. So I had a few questions. My first question was, because I believe Jaina Proudmoore's there. Why didn't Jaina just freeze the sea? Why didn't Jaina levitate the ships? She did it in a pre-expansion event. Why didn't Jaina just teleport everyone away? Okay, never mind. I think Jaina's there. Let's say Jaina isn't there, and she couldn't have done that. She joins them later on. How did Gen Greymane survive the fall? He is untethered on the ship deck, and he plunges a couple of 100 feet. How did he survive the fall? It just comes across as so lazy. It's just like when you've got no stakes, when you've got no rules, when it's one rule for one and one for the other, you kind of lose sort of interest in how, like, if he was suddenly to just get stabbed from behind and die, you'd be like, so what? You know, the rules are just meaningless now. He can fall 200 feet and be absolutely fine. What are the rules? Okay, so let's just put those silly things aside. How did Ashara get the Tidestone? From what I can gather, there was a throwaway line that she says saying that they left it unguarded, and that's it. I've asked people, there's no storyline in game about her stealing it. Why in 8.1 or 8.1.5 wasn't a storyline put in saying, heroes, we are getting word that the Tomb of Sargeras is under attack from Ashara's minions. We believe that they're attempting to steal the Tidestone. Or, we don't know why they're there. We believe them to be doing this. And so you go to try and stop it, and then you realise that it's actually a distraction, and other members of Ashara's lieutenants, etc., have infiltrated, stolen the Tidestone, and then you understand that, that was their true plan all along. Why wasn't that? Would have made a load of sense. Saying they left it unguarded. Everyone just left the Tomb of Sargeras unguarded with all the stones in them? What? That's dumb. That's stupid. Or if people say, well, they're going to discover that there was actually a spy in the Kirin Tor. Look, setup and payoff is where intelligent writing comes from. Doing things after the fact is lazy writing. Everyone can put in after the fact. How did Jeremy get blonde hair? Well, there's going to be a scene later on. Writing after the fact isn't clever. Setup, payoff is. So this whole how Ashara got her hands on the Tidestone just felt so lazy. Really, really lazy. So as somebody who's been unsubscribed for 5 months and seeing this story, to me I'm just seeing really lazy, nonsensical storytelling. Why? Why? So from a story perspective, I couldn't possibly be drawn in. Because it just takes 2 minutes of thought to think of these things. It kind of feels a little bit like D&D. Not Dungeons and Dragons, that's good. It's about D&D from Game of Thrones. It's just like convenience. Oh, we need Ashara to have the Tidestone. She now has the Tidestone. Oh, we need Gen Greymane to survive the fall hundreds of feet. Because he just needs to continue being an NPC. Okay, he survives. It's just convenient stuff. And no, convenience means no stakes. And when there are no stakes, what's the point? What's the point? And then, if we can just go back to all the negative ones, to all the ones that are being critical of 8.2 so far, when people are coming to defend them, when people are coming to defend what they're saying, do you know what I'm hearing? And I'm reading this so much from the defenders, is it's only a patch. What did you expect? Because that is what Blizzard have taught people. I've said this time and time again. This is what Blizzard have taught their community. Well done, Blizzard. It's sunk in. It's only a patch. What did you expect? Patches aren't worth subscribing to. People don't come back for patches. They only come back for expansions. Well done. You did it, Blizzard. You did it. You've managed to parrot teach people that. And so that's the attitude that people now have. So yeah, so far doesn't seem to be going down too well. I'll keep my ear to the ground, because from what I can gather, a lot of this has really got to do with Nazjatar and not Mechagon, which is the other island. And now that has apparently got the more innovative stuff of the two, but we'll just have to wait and see what becomes of that in time. But when your first impression is this and not the good stuff, or this and it don't make sense, What do you expect? What do you expect? So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.